Is this lens worth $3,300? Let's talk about it. So the 28-70 f2 might sound like the perfect lens because it's the first lens by Sony that has a less than 2.8 aperture for a zoom lens, but that's only half the story. So today we're gonna break down why this lens might not be worth it, and we're gonna start off with the most popular topic. Is the f2 aperture actually worth it? The two main benefits that you're gonna get is you're gonna expect that you're gonna get a little more light and a little bit more background blur, but today let's check out exactly how much you actually get. So we're gonna start with the background blur first. I'm gonna post some examples here. First, we'll go one by one and then side by side, and then you guys decide, tell me in the comments, do you think that the 2.0 versus a 2.8 is a noticeable difference? And is it such a difference that you'd pay top dollar for it? And another benefit that you're gonna get with this f2 aperture is the low light performance. So same thing, I'm gonna put some examples here. I'm gonna show you exactly how much light that you're going to get out of this versus 2.8. And same thing, you guys let me know in the comments, is it that big of a difference? In my opinion anyways, for both categories, I don't think that your client will be able to tell the difference at all. This is gonna be very identical and very little difference, in my opinion anyways. If you think it's that big of a difference, then maybe this lens might be for you, but for me, if I was to use my Tamron 28-75 or the 24-70, that's a 2.8, no one's gonna really be able to tell a difference. And nowadays, with a lot of the Sony cameras, they're all really good with low light, so I don't think that extra one stop of light is gonna make or break your project. If you are shooting somewhere super dark, you're probably gonna have to make use of what lights you have available, or just always shoot in optimal lighting conditions. For me, I don't really shoot in super dark settings. I used to shoot inside like warehouses and stuff like that where I did need that extra light, so it could come in handy there, but for the most part, when I'm shooting my personal stuff or I'm on vacation, I aim to just shoot at sunset or when there is a lot of available light, or bring in extra light sources. Now, the second thing that people are very concerned about with this lens is that it only goes as wide as 28. And in my opinion, I do not think that 28 is wide enough, but I don't think it's that big of a difference from like a 24-105 or a 24-70. Because to me, I don't even think the 24 is wide enough. I will always carry a wider zoom, such as a 16-35 or something in that comparable range, to pair with this one. If you're shooting outdoors, this lens is perfect if you have a lot of space, and I think it's the perfect B-roll lens. You can get a lot of good shots with this, but if you're shooting indoors or you're running and gunning and you don't know if you have enough space to back up, always pair it with the wide one. So with this lens anyways, I wouldn't say this would be your one and only lens. So 28 is definitely too tight of a shot if you are indoors, or if you're using real estate, or if you're shooting like inside of a car, things like that. 28 is really hard to get what you want. 24, same thing, I don't think it's wide enough. 16 is probably your sweet spot, and if you can get something wider, even better. Now let's move on to size and weight. Exactly how big is this lens in a real life situation, and how heavy is it? So for me, if I'm out casually, I like to just have like a little sling bag, and before I would be able to fit a camera attached to a lens and a secondary lens with me. So with this one, I can't do that. It basically takes up the whole space in my bag, which means now I have to carry a backpack to bring this and some other lenses. Now that's one thing that I don't like, but it's definitely not a make it or break it for someone who is interested in this lens. The size and weight isn't horrendous. I've had a 70-200 before, the new version, which is lighter than the old version, but it's definitely not as big as that. That I couldn't even fit into my sling, and I couldn't even put it on a camera in my backpack. So this one kind of reminds me more of the old 24-70, if you guys have ever seen that one. Maybe just a little bit longer. If you've seen any of my old videos, you know I like lenses that are practical, that you're actually gonna bring around everywhere. I don't like to just only bring my lens for work. I think it's more fun when I can bring it for casual stuff. and also for work. But for this one, I would say you would bring it around with a purpose. It's not casual when you whip this out anywhere, especially at a restaurant or somewhere super public. Final piece, let's talk about the price, because $3,300 is a big price tag. It's one of Sony's most expensive lenses, and do all these features really make it worth it? So Sony's 24-70 G Master version 2 is already known to be a super premium lens that's extremely expensive, and this one is actually $600 more. So do I think this is even worth $600 more than that one? Absolutely not. I think you get more on the wide end with the 24-70, which is great. You have more flexibility, and the f2, as you guys have seen, it's not that big of a difference. And because the 24-70 is a lot smaller, it's easier to bring around in your kit, backpack, or small bag. And with that extra cash, you could even buy like a used drone or maybe a gimbal to add to your kit. The price of this lens could be somebody's entire setup. A beginner could buy something like the A7C II paired with like a Tamron lens, and they could go start shooting right away just for the price of this one lens, and they'll probably have more money left over. So most people, they think about the f2 where it's getting a little close to the prime lens range. Now, is the f2 pretty close to 1.8? Pretty dang close, but it'll never look like the 1.4 look. So if you really want the best prime look, I would definitely say go with that. So like what I was saying earlier about the prime lenses, this being at a f2 at this size for a zoom is not as easy to carry around as other 1.4 prime lenses. Those ones are super small, you can bring them anywhere, it's easy to pack. This one, you definitely feel it on your wrist after you use it all day. Who I think this lens is for is probably someone who already has a setup and they're thinking of upgrading. So with the money that you can spend on this lens, you can probably buy one or two other really good lenses and have money left over. So I would probably lean towards that. Like for example, with this one lens, you could probably actually even get 2 or 3 Tamron lenses. You get the whole like Trinity range for the same price of one. Now, who do I think this could actually be for? Honestly, to me, this lens just seems like a luxury spending. Nobody needs it. It's just more like if you want something that's a little better than the 24-70 in the aperture section, then this could be for you. But remember, you're sacrificing the wide end. But don't get me wrong, this lens is very good. It gets great quality. You got that f2. However, I just don't think the price justifies how good it actually is. So remember, when it comes to aperture, it's nice to have that f2, but it's only one stop more than f2.8, and it's not a big noticeable difference. And the focal range is like your standard mid-range zoom, but you're losing a little more on the wide end. For size and weight, it's not enormous, but it is a little heavy and bulky for everyday use. It definitely feels like a work lens. And for the price, to me anyways, I think you can get a lot more out of that budget versus buying this one lens. But of course, everyone has their own preferences. This might be for you, but I think you can save a lot more money by not buying this lens. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comments.